Another 5-minute mystery.
Inspector Howard, I asked to have you come up here today because I wanted to explain this case in person.
Well, I'm anxious to hear about it, sir.
On the 6:54 train from Chicago West today, there'll be a private car. In that car will be James Mayhew. He's carrying with him almost $1 million in jewels, which he wishes to take to the West Coast. He trusts no one with them.
Whew.
Now, I want you to watch the entrance to that private car like a hawk. One of our trainmen, Mr. Barnes, will join you at the train. He'll have a letter from me.
All right, sir. I'll do my best to prevent an accident.
You know, I've been a railroad man all my life, Inspector. Used to be a conductor right on one of these trains.
Yes, I know. You showed me that in the letter when you met me in Chicago. By the way, you're sure Mayhew is alone in there?
Yes, except for the steward. You know, though, I think I'll just step back there and see if everything's all right before it's time for him to go to bed.
Okay, I'll wait here for you.
Mr. Inspector.
Yeah, what's the matter?
I'm the steward for Mr. Mayhew's car, sir. An awful thing has happened.
Yeah, what is it?
Well, they sent me to the galley for something. Well, sir, when I came back, Mr. Barnes was gone, and there was Mr. Mayhew shot, sir. Shot right through the head.
Well, come on, let's get in there fast. Where is he?
Right there, sir. Right there on the floor.
He's dead, all right. Where's Barnes?
I don't know, sir. I don't know. He was gone when I came back.
Yeah, what's that?
I don't know, sir.
Hey, quick, it's in that locker. Open it up. Barnes! What's happened? Here, wait, I'll have that gag off in a jiffy.
Boy, that steward. Hold him. Grab him quick before he gets away.
No.
He hit me over the head and then bound and gagged me. I came to when he put me in that locker there. Then I heard a shot. His Mayhew.
Yes, he's dead, Barnes. Shot through the head.
The jewels.
I haven't had time to look.
Search the steward. He has them. He'd planned to throw me off the train and make his getaway at the next stop.
Did you notice what time it was when you came to, Barnes?
Yes, I did. I got my hands free and I could see through one of the air holes. It was 9 minutes to 11.
I didn't do it, sir. I swear I didn't.
I'm sure you didn't, Steward. In fact, just to prove it, Barnes, I'm putting you under arrest, at least until we can reach Chicago by telephone.
In just a moment, we'll see why the inspector arrested Barnes instead of the steward. But first... And now, back to our 5-minute mystery.
Me? Under arrest? What?
Yes, Barnes, you made one mistake, and I'm willing to take a chance that'll hang you. When I asked you what time it was, you said it was 9 minutes to 11. Any railroad man with the experience the real Barnes has had would naturally say 10:51. You've been impersonating Barnes, went in and shot Mayhew, and locked yourself in the locker, gagged. And just to prove it...
No.
Yeah. The jewels are right here in your pocket. Nice work, Barnes, but not nice enough.
Another 5-minute mystery.
Extra, read all about it. Read all about the murder of millionaire Timothy Fuller. Thank you, sir. Timothy Fuller murder unsolved. Read all...
Who shall I say is calling, sir?
Jack Curtis of the Evening Record.
Oh, yes, Mr. Curtis. If you will follow me, sir, Mr. Fuller will see you.
Mr. Fuller?
I'm Leslie Fuller. It was my father who was killed.
According to reports, the case isn't progressing so well.
No, it isn't, Mr. Curtis. Seems to be a complete mystery as to who could have killed my father.
I wonder if it might be possible for me to talk with the other members of the household.
Oh, yes, of course. There's just my sister Barbara, Barton the butler, and myself.
Did you ring, sir?
Oh, yes, Barton. Mr. Curtis would like to talk to you and my sister. Will you go for her? She's in a room.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Fuller, were you at home the night your father was killed?
I'm a radio news commentator, Mr. Curtis, and at the time my father was killed, I was on the air.
Oh, I don't believe I've ever heard you on the radio, Mr. Fuller.
It's quite possible that you haven't, Mr. Curtis. My commentaries are broadcast in short wave, unless you had a shortwave receiver.
Oh, yes, of course.
Did you want to see me, Leslie?
Oh, yes, Barbara. May I present Mr. Curtis of the Evening Record? He wants to ask you some questions.
How do you do, Mr. Curtis?
Oh, how do you do?
You remain also, Barton.
Yes, sir.
Where were you at the time Mr. Fuller was killed, Barton?
I was in the kitchen, sir. I was helping cook polish the silver. When I heard the shot, I ran into the drawing room and found Mr. Fuller slumped over in his chair.
Shot through the head, wasn't he, Barton?
Yes, sir.
And where were you at the time, Miss Fuller?
Oh, I was here in the library. I was lying on the sofa listening to Leslie on the radio when I heard the shot. I never miss him.
Radio? What radio?
Oh, that old portable over there on the desk.
Oh, I see. Where is the cook, Mr. Fuller?
She left this morning. She was terribly upset, and the police said it would be all right.
I see. Oh, that's a very beautiful picture of you there on the desk, Miss Fuller. Do you have another one like it?
Why, yes, of course, but...
Oh, I don't want it for myself, Miss Fuller. I want it for my paper.
Just what are you driving at, Curtis?
Just that your sister's picture will appear in the paper tomorrow under the headline, Daughter Murders Father.
But that's fantastic. You have no reason in the world to believe that I murdered him.
No, I don't I? Well, you made one statement that convinced me immediately that you were lying.
What was the statement that led Curtis to believe that Barbara was lying? In a moment, we'll let you know. But first... Now, back to our mystery.
Yes, Miss Fuller, you made one statement that convinced me immediately that you were lying. Your alibi was that at the time the shot was fired, you were lying in here listening to your brother's commentary on the radio. That's impossible, Miss Fuller. Your brother broadcasts on short wave. Short wave is something different, Miss Fuller, and requires a special receiving set. You could hardly expect me to believe that you heard your brother on that old portable radio you have here. It just wouldn't work. Get your hat and coat, Miss Fuller. Where you're going, you'll have a long time to figure out the intricacies of short wave.
Another 5-minute mystery. Our story takes us to the Long Island home of wealthy Mrs. Nottingham. Set in dense growth on a hill, lonesome, secluded, and dark. The shadow of a human figure climbs into a window, crosses the unlighted room to a safe in the wall. 2 minutes later, the figure is gone, and in a matter of minutes, turmoil rules the house.
Oh, this is terrible. Terrible. Philip, who could have done such a thing?
Did anybody know you had the sapphire hair, Mrs. Nottingham?
Only Jamie and I. It was just delivered from the bank this afternoon.
What's going on down here?
Oh, Jamie.
Oh, the safe. Afraid we've had a thief in the night, Jamie.
They've stolen the sapphire. It's gone. Jamie, could it have been one of the servants?
But Aunt Nora, none of them knew the stone was here.
What's that stuck back in the safe there?
Why, it's an envelope addressed to me.
What? Well, then let's open it. Plain paper, typewritten. It says, 7th November, 1945, dear Mrs. Nottingham. Meet me at the Old Stone Mill Wednesday night at 9. Bring with you $5,000 in cash, small bills, and I will return your sapphire. If you report this theft, you'll never see the Nottingham sapphire again.
No signature?
No, and whoever did it must have known the stone was to be brought here, Aunt Nora. Look at the date, 7th November. That was yesterday. This robbery must have been planned for days.
Well, there's nothing to do except get the stone back again. Tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, I'll meet our thief at the Old Stone Mill. So he was as good as his word, Inspector Webster. I went alone to the mill, handed him the money, took the sapphire, and left.
Yes, and a day later, you reported the matter to the police.
But my aunt had to be sure of getting the stone back, Inspector.
I begged Mrs. Nottingham to let me accompany her. Since I came from England 3 weeks ago, I've been a guest in her house. I wanted to help.
But this note, it tells us a great deal, Mrs. Nottingham.
What, Inspector?
Whoever wrote it is obviously the thief. Someone who was close enough to you to manage the combination of the safe.
I'm afraid that's true, Aunt Nora.
The sapphire was delivered from the bank a few hours before it was stolen. And only you, Mrs. Nottingham, and your nephew knew about it. None of the servants did. Mr. Philip Harrison here. Is he the only Englishman in your house?
Why, yes.
And do you really want to find the thief?
Oh, of course we do.
Then I may as well tell you. I'm arresting Mr. Harrison as the thief. Come along, Harrison. I'll take your confession at headquarters.
What led Inspector Webster to believe Philip Harrison was the culprit? In a moment, we'll hear the solution, but first... And now, back to our story.
Until Philip Harrison confessed, we had no proof of his guilt, although the note itself was enough for me. As you probably know, we Americans always date our letters by first designating the month, then the day. In England, the custom is different. Letters are dated day first, then the month. As in the note, 7th November, 1945. So you can see, in that note, Philip Harrison unconsciously wrote his own confession.